Jamie, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. How are you doing?
Very well indeed. I don't know if you heard our conversation with John Bransell. He doesn't seem to think that the ONS statistics are worth the paper they're written on. Don't know what to say about that, really. But what about this ID card business? Because it seems to me that there's no real positive kind of process that the government have gone through. First of all, they haven't asked anybody's advice. Second of all, we haven't discussed it. Third of all, it doesn't appear that they're going to be required for every adult in the country. So what exactly is it going to be?
Yeah, so pretty much what you've summed up there, Mike. So let's look at the evidence of ID cards across Europe. That's probably a good place to start. So Germany's got digital ID cards, and there's reports in Germany that there's a rising illegal working going on at the moment, putting that down to higher taxes because obviously they're taxing their public like they're doing in the UK. So if someone wants to cut illegal working, I think cutting taxes is one way of doing it. Now, Italy, they've got digital ID cards. They've had about 50,000 people arrive by boat this year. So it's not stopping the boats. It's nearly 1 million since 2015. Now, they've had ID cards since around 2001. They've gone more digital in the more recent years, but that's not stopped the boat. And Greece is a good one as well, Mike. So Greece has got digital ID cards. And you know, a few months back, they had to bring in this temporary thing where they were going to lock people up who were coming on small boats. And then in Spain, just to round off a few more countries, they estimate about 30,000 people are working illegally in agriculture in Spain, and they've got digital ID cards. So the thought of a digital ID card is going to stop the boats or stop illegal working is for the birds. And I'm kind of with you. This has probably been put out there ahead of conference to get everybody talking about this rather than the dire state of the UK economy. Under Starmer and Reeves. Well,
exactly. As I said to Gavin Mortimer, because he's, Emmanuel Macron's apparently been telling Starmer, oh, you've got to get, digital ID cards in order to stop the immigration problem. Whereas France, as he said, is overrun with North African drug gangs, overrun with immigrants, and they've got an ID card system and it hasn't made any difference at all.
No, and Starmer talks about like smashing the gangs, Mike. You look at the ONS figures in the last 12 months on drug-related deaths. They're the high records, I think record highs in England and Wales. So if governments are good at smashing gangs, why are drug deaths so good? I think, there's no merit to this digital ID card. I think last night, what's her name, Fiona Bruce, there's reports saying that the majority of the public support this. She asked the audience on question time to put your hand up if you support it. There were hardly any hands up going whatsoever.
But this is another sort of shibboleth that these governments come out with, isn't it? Oh, there's great support for this idea. It's the same as Sadiq Khan when he comes out and goes, oh, there's great support for low traffic neighbourhoods. No, there isn't. There's support from people who think it's a good thing because they're ideologically wedded to it. But if you ask the people who live where the LTNs are, they hate it.
Yeah, and you can play a good statistical trick here with polling as well, Mike. So if you ask people, would you support a digital ID card to stop illegal migrants? They'll probably say yes.
Right.
But if you then tell them all the facts that I've just told you, you probably get the answer, well, it's not going to actually stop it.
Exactly.
So the answer would be no. So government can get any answer they want with any question that is asked.
Yeah, except they won't allow us to have an actual debate about it, and they won't have an actual debate about it in Parliament because there hasn't been one, right?
No, and this isn't going to come in quick overnight anyway, Mike.
No.
But even thinking, could a government... This government, everything's been a shambles. Remember the vaccine passports as well. They said, right, you need to show your vaccine passport to go into nightclubs. And what did they then do? They closed the nightclubs because COVID rates were going up. So that had absolutely no impact. So the thought that a government could bring this in, run it, get it in perfectly, on time, on cost, is for the birds as well. So I think they're talking about this one, Mike. Do you think we'll ever see it?
No.
I don't think the government's going to be around long enough to actually implement it.
Well, whenever you hear those words, over the course of the next Parliament, you just basically know it's going to be kicked into long grass and nobody's ever going to do it. They haven't got the money, they haven't got the wherewithal, they haven't got the expertise, and even if they were able to get it up and running, they haven't even told us who's going to be giving it. And I mean, the idea that they say that, people without a passport won't be inside the scheme, well, how are you going to then track illegal migrants who don't have passports?
Yeah, and there's a bizarre news report on the BBC last week, Mike, as well, where
there's a lot of those.
Migrants said that the one-in, one-out scheme, so these are migrants in France telling a BBC reporter, the one-in, one-out scheme won't work because they don't have passports or ID cards, as if, okay, let's bring them in. People who come to the country illegally or people who want to work illegally, Mike, they will not care about an ID card.
No, of course not.
They just don't want to do it in the first place. So the government going down this road, absolute nonsense, Mike. I think you're on the right side of history on this one.
I think so. Well, it's as usual, right? It's like telling somebody shoplifting from a shop, you're breaking the law. And they go, yeah, they just carry on. Of course they're breaking the law. They know they're breaking the law. That's why they're doing it.
And the thing with these digital ID cards, Mike, people talk about conspiracy theories about mission creep. Well, you can get a lot of mission creep. I think the voice note you just played from Judith there, that you know, when you start bringing digital ID cards in, they might start bringing digital currencies in, beginning to start putting restrictions on in terms of what you do. So this could be the start of a slippery slope towards that. But if the government's intent is to do what they say, as a statistician, I'd like to see the evidence that this would stop illegal working and stop the votes. Until there's any evidence for that, the actual firm basis of what they're saying they're doing it for doesn't even stack up.
Exactly. There is no evidence. There never will be. Jamie, great to talk to you as ever. Jamie Jenkins, independent statistician.